Imagine for a moment that you possess the power to ignite the core of your own existence, becoming the center of your own universe. That every thought, every desire, and every will become flames capable of forging realities. This is not just a mystical dream or a metaphysical theory. It is a powerful truth that lies within you, waiting to be awakened. In the fire that creates. How to become the center of the universe, Aleister Crowley, the great master of occultism and spiritual alchemy, reveals to us the secret of the primordial flame, the power of will as a divine spark capable of shaping destiny and transforming reality. Through his visionary teachings, this text will lead you to understand that the fire that creates is not just a physical element, but a cosmic force that resides within each of us. Crowley, with his unparalleled mastery in uniting the arcane with the practical, will guide you to a deep understanding of how your mind, aligned with universal energy, can become the axis of everything you experience. It is a journey toward absolute personal power, where you will learn to ignite your inner spirit, kindle your boldest aspirations, and shape the destiny you desire. This text is not just a set of concepts, it is a ritual in itself, an invocation to your purest power and your ability to turn chaos into cosmos. Prepare to delve into the hidden knowledge that challenges the limits of common consciousness and invites you to become the architect of your own universe. Awaken the flame, be the center. The power to create is within you. There is no creation without irreverence, and there is no manifestation without transgression. Everything that exists was first a violation of what was a strike of will against inertia, a lightning bolt in the blind night of the universe. And you, reader, invoker, sleeping mage, or concealed god, are about to open a book that was not written to please nor to console. It was dictated from the core of eternal fire, to remind you of what the centuries have tried to make you forget. You are not here to receive, you are here to command. This book is an act of magic, not a collection of theories and not a new doctrine, not a moral guide disguised as metaphysics, but a verbal sword, an electric current turned into words, a key forged with the blood of those who dared before you. Manifestation is not a gift, it is not a grace, it is an act of spiritual authority. And anyone who still waits to receive is outside the temple, because the temple is not found, it is ignited. From my throne beyond time, where form and desire merge into the same cry, I give you this work as a structured incantation. Every word has been woven with intention. Every phrase is a ritual in itself. Every chapter is a seal that opens, a threshold that burns, an invocation to awaken the mage that you already are. Magic and manifestation are not for those still seeking permission. They are for those who know that reality is a theater, at the service of the one who dares to write the script without asking for forgiveness. I have walked among angels and beasts. I have invoked the shadow and the lightning. I have been a priest of the abyss and an architect of heaven, and I have understood that there is no difference between one and the other, except for the direction of will. You think that manifestation is attracting. Manifestation is birthing worlds from the soul. It is engraving your vibration into the flesh of the universe. It is forcing the ether to take form, because you have decreed it. This book will not teach you how to wish well. This book will force you to remember that you are the source of desire. There is no manifestation outside of you. You are the channel, you are the current, you are the spark, you are the altar and the god. But to reach that point, you must break your mental seals, kill the beggar within, shatter the small self that still waits for justice, logic, fairness. This book is not just, it is exact, it is not good, it is true, and it is not moral, and it is lethal. Each chapter will open a threshold, not for you to understand, but for you to transform. The words to come are not knowledge. They are living ritual. The word will be magic. The reading will be invocation. And you, if you dare, will not be the same by the end. Because this is not a text to be read, it is a ritual to be executed. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And if your will is to manifest with fire, to command with vibration, to create with sacred authority, then open this book as one who opens a sealed grimoire, and let the universe tremble before your presence. The Fire That Creates: How to Become the Center of the Universe by Aleister Crowley. We have noticed that more than 90% of those who visit our channel are not subscribed. You can support this project by pressing the subscribe button and giving the video a like. Thank you for inspiring us to keep creating more and better content for you. Are you ready to transform your life? Chapter 1. Invoke and Command. Do not wait. Order. Any magician who waits has failed before beginning. Any invoker who doubts has lost the right before uttering the first name. And you, who have been raised in the cult of patience, humility, and divine waiting, must know that such teachings were an act of war against your power. Because the universe does not respond to supplications, it responds to authority. And whoever still asks has already confessed that they have forgotten who they are. To invoke is to command, not to call, not to beg, not to negotiate. True magic does not crawl. It rises, it stands, it proclaims, it imposes, not through violence but through certainty, through the exact vibration of one who knows there is no separation between their desire and their ability to create. The ancients knew this. That is why they pronounced sacred names like one who opens doors. That is why every invocation was an absolute act, not an option. Because invocation is not a mere gesture, it is a declaration of dominion. And I, Aleister Crowley, reveal it to you without masks or spiritual perfumes. There is no magic without dominion. There is no manifestation without imposition. There is no creation without sovereignty. You do not invoke to see if it arrives, and you invoke so that it must arrive. You do not use ritual to ask with more faith. You use it to engrave your will into the very flesh of the universe, and the universe, that sleeping beast, that faceless god, that sacred servant, bows before the one who no longer hesitates, because energy does not move through compassion. It moves through direction, through geometry, through order. You are not here to ask yourself if you can manifest. You are here to manifest, period. And whoever still doubts must understand. Your life is the exact reflection of your lack of command. Your reality is not unjust, it is precise. It measures your vibration. It obeys your structure. It executes your frequency. Do you want to know how much you truly command? Look at your world. There is the exact measure of your power, nothing more, nothing less. But this is not a punishment, it is a key. Because if you created it, you can destroy it and create it anew. And here lies the secret that the temples never taught. There is nothing more magical than a decree executed from the center. Not symbols, not candles, not rings, not demons. Only you and your word, and you are the word. And when you invoke from that place, from that inner throne, the ether cannot resist. Invisible structures tremble. Seals break open. Planes respond. Because the universe knows how to recognize a king. And if you remember, you will be obeyed. You do not need permission. You do not need to cleanse your karma. You do not need to be ready, so you only need to decide that it already is. Invocation is not a technique. It is a posture, a frequency, a field. To invoke is to live as if it were already done. To speak as if it were already yours. To breathe as if the world were your servant. Not out of arrogance, but out of structure. Because you have taken your place as the central channel of the all. The beginner's mistake is to wait. Wait for signs. Wait for something outside to validate their desire. The magician does not wait. The magician provokes. The magician initiates. The magician imposes. And he does so without rage, without anxiety, without desperation. Because his certainty is the conjuration. I tell you this, if you still doubt your power, then you have not yet invoked. And if you have not invoked, then nothing will move. Magic does not respond to weak desires. It responds to firm decree. To the silent cry that declares, "This is because I am." And that I am is not religious, it is architectural, it is vibratory, it is ineluctable. You are the one who gives form to the formless. You are the one who extracts structure from chaos. You are the God in flesh who has awakened. And if you invoke from that place, everything will align. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And if your will is to manifest, then do not ask. Command, do not question. Declare, do not wait. Invoke and dominate. Chapter 2. Desire is the key. From creative lust to sacred decree. They taught you to distrust desire, to fear it, to tame it, to repress it, as if it were a wild beast that must be chained in the basement of the soul. But I tell you, with the tongue of the ancient gods, with the fury of the heretic prophets, with the word of one who has descended into the abyss, and returned with the keys of fire, desire is the key. There is no creation without desire. There is no magic without desire. There is no manifestation without desire. Desire is the hidden engine of worlds, the fuel of the gods, the seed of every universe. Everything that has existed, everything that breathes, everything that shines in the plane of form, was born from desire. But I do not speak of the lukewarm desire, of the moralized longing, of the need disguised as virtue. I speak of creative lust, of the burning, primal, absolute desire, the desire that does not ask, does not wait, does not justify, the desire that burns like a star within the magician, and pushes them to shatter the laws of mediocrity. True desire is sacred, and that is why it was condemned, because whoever embraces it becomes free, it becomes dangerous, it becomes a creator, and can no longer be tamed. Not by morality, not by religion, not by the system, not by the false prophets of mission. They told you desire was sin. A lie. The real sin is repressing your will, because every desire you deny rots inside you, and every desire you repress turns into shadow, but every desire you accept, ignite, and ritualize and becomes a sacred decree. And this is where magic becomes a creative act, because desire alone is fire, but when you align it with your true will, when you project it from the center, when you charge it with pure intention, and hurl it into the ether like an invincible spear, then it takes form, and that form is obedient, and that form is structure, and that form is reality. Desire is not whim, it is a signal, it is inner geometry, it is the voice of the I Am whispering, that is yours, take it, create it, claim it. But desire does not wait forever, it will leave. It will seek another channel, another magician, another god. Who knows its worth? I did not come to speak of virtue. I came to speak of power. And power begins in desire. Desire that vibrates, that sharpens, that directs itself, that transforms into word, image, action. Because it is not enough to desire. You must convert your desire into structure. And that structure is the decree. The sacred decree is not a pretty phrase. It is an act of magic. It is desire, will, word, and action. It is the moment when fire becomes geometry, when chaos turns into cosmos, when the spark becomes a temple. Desire like a god, decree like a king, act like an initiate, and the universe will bow before you. But remember, if desire is impure, if it is stained by fear or need, it will not manifest. You will only repeat the old. Desire must be clean, not perfect, but deep, inevitable, infallible. That desire is your inner gold, and when you transform it into decree, matter cannot resist. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, and if your desire is pure and your decree burns with the flame of I Am, then the entire universe will open before you like a black rose. Desire, decree, dominate. Chapter 3. Will as a sword. How to cut through the veil of the unreal. The unreal dominates this world. The illusory reigns over men. Every thought not born from the center, every emotion not ritualized, and every word spoken from fear is another thread in the veil that covers the truth. That veil was not placed by the gods. You wove it. You wove it every time you surrendered your power. To forms, to expectations, to history, and to duty, to morality. But like all illusions, that veil can be cut, and the edge that tears through it is not reason, it is not faith, it is not the lukewarm love of preachers, and it is will as a sword. And what is will? It is not desire. Desire is fire. Will is direction. Desire is impulse. Will is structure. Desire is a spark. Will is the hand that holds the torch without trembling. Will is the divine force that cuts the chains, cuts the lies, and cuts the false reality like a knife slashes through fog. It is the magician's tool, the scepter of the initiate, the sacred blade that divides the true from the illusory. You were trained to doubt, to adapt, to obey, to blend into empty forms. But when will awakens, it no longer questions, it no longer hesitates, it no longer contaminates itself. With the words of the lukewarm, will cuts until only the essential remains. And when you use it as a sword, everything you are not collapses, relationships break, soulless businesses fall, excuses vanish. Because the sword tolerates no dead weight, it leaves only the real. But here is the danger. Many fear this sword because they have built their lives upon the veil, and cutting it would mean losing everything. Friends, family, history, entire worlds. But losing the false is the price of truth, and whoever refuses to pay it will remain trapped in the theater of form, pretending to live without ever manifesting. Manifestation does not happen within the veil. It happens when the veil falls, when you cut through mental garbage, when you destroy inherited narratives, when your will becomes stronger than your fear. And how do you sharpen this sword? With decision, with ritual, with renunciation, with inner fire. It is not about wanting a lot, it is about wanting with a brutal purity so undeniable that the universe has no choice, because the will that has been purified by the abyss is the will of God. And God, when he remembers he is God, does not beg, he commands. The world is divided between those who execute and those who doubt, between those who cut and those who cling, between those who hold the blade and those who are cut by it. And you, who are you, the one who fears the sword? Or the one who raises it toward the heavens and declares, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law," and plunges it into the heart of illusion to reclaim their throne? Because each time you use your will as a sword, you kill the slave and birth the creator. You are not here to hold the veil in place, and you are here to break it, to set it on fire, to tear through it like a lightning bolt that does not ask for permission. The veil will fall because the sword is already in your hand, and the only question that matters is, do you have the courage to use it? Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, and if your will is pure, then cut. Because beyond the veil, the world you came to create is waiting for you. Chapter 4. Matter is an obedient illusion. The world is the magician's puppet. Look around you. Everything you touch, everything you believe to be solid, external, separate, everything you call reality, is nothing but an empty word adored by the blind. It is nothing but a projection, a shadow, a puppet dancing under the strings of your consciousness. You do not live in the world lives in you, and that truth, when revealed, destroys empires and builds gods. Matter is an illusion, yes, but an obedient illusion, an illusion waiting for your command to take shape, an illusion that adapts to your vibration, that bends to your belief, that transforms under the pressure of your will. The world is not made of atoms, it is made of symbols, and those symbols respond to those who know how to read them, or better yet, to those who know how to rewrite them. Matter is soft for the initiate. It is obedient like a tamed serpent for the one who is awakened. It is passive, and the true magician does not observe it, he shapes it. You were taught that physical laws are immutable. Another lie. Laws are collective pacts, vibratory contracts, sustained by masses who have surrendered their sovereignty. But you, if you remember and if you vibrate higher than the pact, if your word burns brighter than the consensus, you can break it, you can rewrite it. I'm not speaking in metaphors, I'm speaking of magic, of the real, tangible, brutal ability to transform your environment, the way one changes a sentence in a text. And the tool is not science, it is not prayer, it is not waiting, it is identity. Your world obeys who you believe you are. Do you see poverty? Your inner self still emits scarcity. Do you see limits? Your will has not yet claimed its crown. Do you see chaos? Your field still vibrates in disorder, but change your center, and matter will fall at your feet like an enamored slave, because it has no choice, because it has no will of its own, because it is illusion at the service of the magician. Do you know why it seems so real? Because you have fed it with faith, with repetition, with emotion, because you have held the theater in place with such zeal that you forgot you were the playwright, and now you applaud your own prison as if the script had been forced upon you. Wake up, break the script up, burn the stage. Matter cannot resist the fire of consciousness. When awakened, it melts, it bends, it folds, and it does so without struggle, because it was designed to obey. And you, reader of invisible grimoires, you are not here to admire the world, you are here to govern it. Those who adore matter become slaves, and those who deny matter become ghosts. But those who dominate matter from spirit, those are the kings, those are the magicians. Do you want wealth? Feel yourself as the source. Do you want beauty? Vibrate in harmony. Do you want power? Inhabit the center, and matter will obey, not out of justice and not out of merit, but by law, by design, because the world is a puppet, and you are the hand that holds the strings. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, and if your will vibrates beyond illusion, illusion will bow, and your world will become An obedient masterpiece, a living temple, a conscious mirror, a puppet that dances to the rhythm of your fire. Chapter 5. The Perfect Ritual. Not for gods, but for your highest self. Everything you've been told about rituals is tainted by the ignorance of the devotee. They taught you to perform rituals to beg, to plead, to ask for permission, to worship invisible entities as if they were capricious feudal lords. But I reveal to you what they never dared to say. The ritual is not for the gods. The ritual is for you, for the true you, for the highest self, the one who watches from the heights when your mask sleeps. The perfect ritual does not seek favors. It does not seek blessings. It does not seek approval from higher planes. The perfect ritual is the burning mirror, where the original self is revealed, the fire before the name, the seed of will that kneels before nothing. Every symbol, every stroke, and every movement has no power on its own. You are the power, and the ritual is the geometry that activates your divine core. True ritual is not external, it is internal. It is not a spectacle, it is vibrational precision. It is the language of the soul to the soul. When a magician draws the circle, he is not protecting himself from external forces. He is sealing his field. He is tracing the boundary of his royalty. He is declaring to the eons, here begins the world, and here I rule. When the magician lights the candle, he is not illuminating a space. He is illuminating an intention. It is not about the physical fire, it is about the archetypal fire that responds to the inner flame. When sacred names are spoken, it is not to invoke external deities. It is to awaken dormant qualities. Every word is a code and every sound is a key. Every vibration is a doorway to oneself. You do not need altars full of objects. You are the altar. You do not need incense or robes. If you do not hold your intention with firmness, the true robe is identity, and the most sacred incense is your certainty. Do you want to perform the perfect ritual? Then abandon all worship of the external. Destroy the image of the God that is outside, because the God outside is a trap, a reflection of your slavery, and the ritual is the weapon that destroys idols, to enthrone the true self. Do not invoke expecting to receive. Invoke to align matter with your will, to remember in every gesture that you are not a body seeking a soul. You are the soul commanding the body, the spirit designing the flesh, the creator who has descended to play with forms. You do not need to repeat words that are not yours. Speak your own, carve them with fire into the air. Make each syllable weigh like a decree. Make each movement strike like a sword. Make each moment within the ritual an entire universe reconfiguring itself. And when you finish, do not wait for signs. Walk as one who has already been obeyed, because the universe does not yield to supplication. It yields to identity. The perfect ritual does not end when you extinguish the candle. It ends when you breathe as one who has already fulfilled, when you walk as one who already is, when you speak as one who needs no explanation. Because the ritual is only the threshold. The true spell is your entire existence. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, and if your will is to invoke your higher self, then let this become living geometry, and let reality bow before your inner temple. Because you have remembered the true secret, the ritual does not activate gods, it activates you. Chapter 6. Manifest or die, the eternal return of what you do not create. There exists a secret law, one that burns beyond dogma, a law that does not appear in moral texts or in the doctrines of slaves. If you do not manifest, you repeat, and if you repeat, you are dead, because to live without creating is not living. It is moving in circles. It is inhabiting false time, and it is spinning endlessly in a prison disguised as destiny. Everything you do not manifest becomes a specter that haunts you. Everything you do not bring into the world will find other ways to return, and it will return with more force, with more urgency, with more violence. You call that a pattern. I call it vibratory karma, the perpetual echo of an unclaimed will, the subtle punishment of an unused force, and the universe, which does not tolerate emptiness, fills it with repetition. Manifest or die. That simple, that brutal, that exact. You think you can postpone your power, lock your gifts in a drawer, or wait for the right moment? The universe does not wait, the universe reacts, and every act of non-manifestation is a slow suicide, an unconscious ritual to incarnate mediocrity. When you do not manifest what burns in your soul, everything around you becomes an obstacle, because there is no worse punishment than seeing reflected in the world what you do not dare to bring forth, that unwritten book, that business never launched, that idea never executed, that version of yourself that exists in potential. It watches you, and if you do not release it, it rots in your astral field, and what rots attracts flies and parasitic people, repetitive situations, vicious cycles, desperation disguised as routine. Do you want to break the repetition? Manifest. Bring into the world what lives within you, not tomorrow, now. Because the magician who does not manifest becomes his own curse. He has power but does not use it. He has vision but does not act. He has fire but sleeps upon the embers. And that internal combustion creates hell. Non-creation is the gate to hell, and not the imaginary place of fire, but the hell of a life without purpose, without magic, without direction. The death of the magician does not come by illness. It comes by omission, by inertia, by paralysis, and it is worse than physical death. It is forgetting. It is dissolving into the grayness of the crowd. Do you want to save yourself? Break the curse. Do. Do you want to manifest? Then do not think about it. Execute. Will is not meditated. It is embodied. Desire is not repressed. It is ritualized. It is not protected. It is launched like a sacred spear against time. And if you fail, even better, because he who fails has tried, and the universe rewards movement, not perfection. A ritualized mistake is more sacred than perfect passivity. But if you stay silent, if you delay, and if you keep waiting for the world to give you a sign, then accept your sentence, the eternal return, the repetition of what you did not create, the condemnation of living surrounded by broken mirrors, always reflecting the same void. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And if your will is to live, then manifest or die, because the universe has already spoken, and the only thing it waits for is for you to scream back. Chapter 7. Vibration, Seal, Frequency, Keys of Power. The word that does not vibrate does not create. The desire that does not burn does not move. The idea that does not emit does not exist. You can speak, think, visualize, write, and still be magically dead if your vibration does not support every symbol you pronounce, because in the sacred art of the magician, vibration is not emotion, it is identity. Everything that manifests responds to an exact frequency, not to your words, not to your affirmations, not to your noble intentions, but to the vibration you emit. When no one sees you, when no one hears you, when it is just you and the quantum field. That vibration, that invisible hum exhaled by your mere existence, is your seal, your energetic signature, your irreproducible emanation. And the universe, like a lock sensitive to code, only opens if your vibration matches the shape it is meant to receive. That is why rituals do not always work. That is why desire alone is not enough. Because if your vibration is weak, no symbol will open the door. The mistake of the apprentice is believing he can lie to the cosmos. He repeats mantras, he visualizes, he declares abundance, but his vibration remains that of a slave, that of a fearful being, and that of an imposter disguised as a creator. And then nothing happens, and he blames fate. He curses the methods, and he gives up. But he never examines his own field. He never realizes that the universe does not respond to what you say. It responds to what you are. To vibrate is to emit. And he who emits from the center does not need to ask, because he is already commanding. Vibration is the secret language of the gods. The language before language, the word beyond words, the key. And you, molded by the noise of a sleeping society, have forgotten the sound of your real frequency. You have tuned into fear, into doubt, into comparison, and that has sealed you, has trapped you in a low frequency, an invisible prison where everything repeats, where everything is delayed, where nothing responds. Do you want to escape? Then elevate, not your thoughts, not your emotions, or your vibration. You do not need to shout, you do not need to prove yourself, you only need to attune to what you wish to see, because the magician does not attract, the magician matches, and what he matches arrives, because it cannot do otherwise. And how is vibration elevated? With choice, with truth, with renunciation, with absolute coherence, between what you think, what you do, and what you know yourself to be. This is not about thinking positively. It is about becoming what you desire. The correct vibration is not created. It is remembered. It is within you. It has always been there. It is simply asleep beneath layers of foreign noise. And this book is a knife to strip those layers away, a key to tear the veil, a spell to remind you. You are frequency before you are form, and that frequency determines everything. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And if your will vibrates with the fire of I am, then the universe will be your mirror, and your vibration will be the key that opens everything. Without permission, without error, without return. Chapter 8. Sex Magic Reality Creation. The Seed as Decree. There is a power that religions tried to bury, a flame that doctrines covered with centuries of guilt, an energy older than any named God, more powerful than any prayer, more dangerous than any ritual. Sexual energy, the serpentine fire, the sacred roar of illuminated flesh, the vibration where matter and spirit fuse, without permission, without morality, without censorship. They taught you that sex was dirty desire, carnal pleasure, a low impulse. But I, Aleister Crowley, reveal to you, with the voice that cannot be silenced, sex is the highest ritual. The orgasm is a portal. The ejaculation is a decree. The seed is the supreme symbol of creation. Sex magic is not a game and not empty lust. It is spiritual technology. It is embodied invocation. It is pure alchemy. It is the way the universe remembers how to manifest itself. Each time you reach climax, your energy field opens. Your ego dissolves for a second. Your mind shuts off. Your body becomes an absolute channel. That instant, that implosion, is the most fertile moment to plant reality. And what do? You waste it. You empty yourself without intention. You scream without direction. Then you are losing the most sacred power that exists. Because seed without consciousness does not create. It only repeats. It only reinforces the pattern. It only feeds the wheel. But the initiate does not spill his essence in vain. The magician does not ejaculate without ritual. The priestess does not reach orgasm without purpose. Every drop is a decree. Every spasm is an invocation. Every moan is geometry. Sex magic is understanding that. The body is an altar. Desire is fire. Sexual energy is the ink with which you write upon the ether. That is why when pleasure and consciousness unite, the result is accelerated creation. Reality bends so quickly that the sleeping ones would call it a miracle, because you are no longer asking. You are fertilizing the plane. You are inserting your will into the womb of the universe. You are gestating destiny. And do you need a partner? No, the sacred union can be internal. Ritualized self-pleasure is not sin, it is magic. When performed with intention, with invocation, with direction, semen is a symbol. But it is also a code. The fluid is sacred, not because of its composition, but because of its energetic charge. And that charge depends on your vibrational state at the moment of orgasm. Yet you allow yourself to be carried away by unconscious pleasure. You disconnect. You empty yourself into emptiness, and so the universe returns emptiness to you. But if in that instant you become a temple, if you visualize, if you decree, if you feel that you are penetrating the very fabric of the invisible, then the orgasm becomes a creative bomb, and what you project forms. I did not come to speak of chastity, and I did not come to speak of vulgarity. I came to restore the forgotten power, to ignite the serpent, and to tell you that your body is the wand, your pleasure is the spell, your seed is the signature, and that if you unite all of this with awakened intention, you can create universes. You can shape your reality like clay. You can bring any vision into this plane. Sex magic is the final heresy. The trial by fire, the act that separates devotees from gods. Because only a god dares to turn his pleasure into a sacred act. Because only a god dares to impregnate reality with his essence. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And if your will burns in your flesh, if your desire rises to the altar of the infinite, then do not fear. Take your body, take your pleasure, and decree, with semen, with fire, with moan, because you did not come to beg, you came to create. Chapter 9, From Silence to Lightning. The art of speaking with the planes. First comes silence. Not the silence of a closed mouth, but the silence of a soul that has stopped seeking, that fertile void, where all distraction has died, where mental noise has been sacrificed at the altar of presence, because only from that place, can the true conversation with the planes begin. Not with prayers, not with sweet words, not with inherited recitations, but with lightning, with thunderbolts of pure intention that tear through the veils. The universe does not respond to those who speak just to speak. It responds to the one who burns in silence and then speaks with fire. Silence is not passivity. It is the accumulation of voltage. It is the field without noise where the lightning is forged. And when that inner lightning can no longer be contained, when will has reached its maximum density, then comes the word, not just any word, the sealed word, the locked word, the word as a sword, as a decree, and as a command. Speaking with the planes is not dialoguing with entities, playing with spiritism, channeling for sport. It is emitting from the center of the I Am to the deepest layers of the real, shattering the structure of the ether and reorganizing it. There are planes that do not speak in language. They speak in vibration, they speak in intention, they speak in symbols, that you translate as images, dreams, intuitions, and you, if you are aligned, can respond. You can speak with the fire that burns in the invisible. You can use the word as a seal, as a portal, as a key. Do you want to open a plane? Do not knock, decree. Do you want to be heard by the intelligences that guard the unmanifested? Do not beg, command. Do you want to invoke without error? Do not copy, tune in. Because the planes do not obey those who imitate formulas. They obey the one who emits from their internal throne, the one who speaks as one who has already been heard, the one who does not ask if it is working, because they already know everything has been activated. This is the art of speaking with the planes. Not from ego, not from disordered desire, but from the core that already knows itself as God. And then language changes. Your voice becomes geometry. Your words carry symbols, and your breath carries fire, and the universe moves, not because you force it, but because it can no longer ignore you, because silence was preparation, and the word was thunder, and that thunder awakens the dormant structures, and it breaks inertia, it shakes the layers of the unreal. But beware. A word without prior silence is noise, an invocation without fire is theater, a decree without center is a lie disguised as intention. That is why you remain silent first, not to wait, but to ignite, to build within yourself the critical mass of vibration that will make a single word enough to move worlds. And when you speak, let there be no doubt. Let every cell of your body back what is said. Let every field of your aura emit it, and let every plane hear it, and let every entity, force, circumstance, and structure bow, not before your voice, but before what sustains it, your will. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And if your word has been born from silence and charged with fire, then let the planes open, let the veils be torn, and let your voice, no longer human but divine, be the lightning that pierces through them. Chapter 10. Rewriting the Ether. The word as geometry of manifestation. The universe is not made of things. It is made of orders of invisible lines that form structures of vibrations, tracing pure architecture over the void. Before form, before body, before matter, there is the ether, that subtle field, that living fabric, that infinite matrix where all that is possible sleeps, waiting to be awakened by a single word charged with will. Not just any word, not the ones you repeat without soul, not the ones you say to please and to ask or to impress. I speak of the word as geometry, as incantation and as form, an alchemy that reorders the very field of existence. When you speak from your center, from I Am, without name or form, the word becomes a trace, a spiral, a line of fire, and the ether, obedient and neutral, reconfigures itself, taking the shape you give it. It folds to your vibration like water into a bowl. But if your word is empty, the ether does not move, not because it hates you, but because it finds no structure. Form requires direction, and direction is given by the exact geometry of conscious word. Magic is verbal architecture. Every syllable is a vector, every tone is a curve, every silence between the words is a sacred space, where the planes breathe. That is why the ancients did not speak lightly. That is why mantras were not random letters, because they knew that the word creates fractals, and those fractals become circumstances, and those circumstances are the reflection of the geometry you emit. You say, I cannot trace the geometry of abundance. You say, it's difficult. You draw thorns in your path, and you say, I am, followed by limitation, and you order the ether to crystallize it, and the ether obeys, It neither loves nor hates you. It reflects you exactly, with brutality, with a precision that only scares those who do not want to take responsibility. But you who read these lines, not as letters, but as ritual, know that the time has come to rewrite the field, to speak as an architect, to stop emitting random geometry, to ritualize the word as if it were a chisel upon the world's marble. And here is the great secret. The word is geometry, yes, but that geometry is not drawn from the mouth. It is drawn from will. Your voice without will is noise. Your word without alignment is the echo of a slave. But your verb, when it is born from the deepest iron, when it is supported by body, mind, soul, and fire, then it is living geometry. And what you say will be not by faith, but by law. Stop using the word as defense, as excuse, and as decoration. Use it as sword and as brush and as lightning that draws worlds. Speak as a god, because every word you utter, every phrase you repeat, every decree you launch is an order to the field, a geometry that becomes reality. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, and if your word has been sealed with fire, then let the ether bow. Let the forms stick, and let the universe be rewritten with every syllable that comes from your internal throne. Chapter 11. Forbidden enchantments to condense desire into form. Enchantments are not magical words stolen from fairy tales, nor harmless formulas painted on old paper. They are shots of consciousness, charged with intention, closed vectors that pierce the planes and make desire, that dancing flame, condense into form, into substance, into flesh, into gold. But there are enchantments that were never given to the herd, verbal forms sealed by the ancients, forbidden rhythms that transform the ether, without going through mercy or logic. Words that do not ask but order. Words that do not beg for approval but resonate with the very structure of chaos and force it to bend. These enchantments are not for anyone who speaks them. Without fire, one disintegrates into illusion. One who recites them without an inner throne does not summon power. They summon shadow. Because the enchantment is a sword, and one who does not know how to wield it cuts themselves. And what is it that turns a phrase into an enchantment? Not its antiquity, not its language, not its musicality, but the run, the intention. Ritualized desire is energy, but desire refined by will, concentrated into word backed by vibration. This is creation. That is the true purpose of the enchantment, to turn the ethereal into the solid, the invisible into the inevitable, the desire into thing. You have desired 1,000 times, but how many times have you condensed it? How many times have you turned that inner flame into the exact word, ritualized, spoken as though the universe had no choice but to obey? Never? Then you have not done magic. You have played with fire without ever lighting it. Forbidden enchantments are not written in books. They are inscribed in the blood of those who remember. I did not come to recite phrases to you. I came to remind you how to craft them. Listen. An enchantment is born from the conjunction of 3 fires. The precise vision, not a vague desire, not a need, but an exact image. A clear symbol in your inner temple. The exact word, not adorned, not copied, your own phrase that resonates with the geometry of desire, that when you pronounce it, you feel your bone tremble. The ritual emission, not mechanical, not casual, directed like a ray, with breath, gaze, body, and field aligned. The enchantment is not said, it is launched, it is stabbed, it is engraved in the invisible. Do it right, and the world responds. Do it without soul, and silence will be your punishment. Now I will give you formulas, not for you to repeat like a parrot, but for you to feel, to adapt, to burn them in your fire, and to launch them like living daggers. By my awakened will, this is already my word, and it takes form. Desire is flesh. The verb has become gold. From the throne of my center I command, so it shall be, so it is, so it was. I am the cause, and the universe my reflection. Desire becomes world. The world obeys. Do not pray, enchant, do not repeat. Pronounce it as one who ignites. For the enchantment is not a request. It is a verbal architecture, where the still unborn form is forced to manifest. The world cannot resist the magician who speaks from the center, because that magician does not speak alone. They speak with all the eons, with all their lives, with all their inner gods. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And if your desire can no longer remain in the invisible plane, then enchant me. Where the moralist sees entities to worship or reject, the initiate sees energies to invoke and use, because in the subtle planes there are no good or bad forces, only forces that wait for direction, and any force not directed by you will be directed against you. Angels and demons, names that carry centuries of ignorance, words worn by trembling pulpits. But I, Aleister Crowley, son of lightning and abyss, reveal it to you without censorship. Angels and demons are not here to judge you, they are here to serve you. Each represents a vibration, an archetype, a code, and a latent impulse waiting for activation. The angel, symbol of expansion, order, vision. The demon, symbol of desire, impulse, transgression. Both are fire, both are keys, both are tools. And you will continue to reject half the power. You will continue to believe that your mission on this earth is to obey forces that wait for your voice to act. Awaken. The magician does not kneel before his symbols, as he calls them. He organizes them. He turns them into servants. There is nothing more tragic than seeing a being full of light tremble before their shadows. There is no greater blasphemy than worshipping the angel and cursing the demon, when both obey you. If you have already crowned yourself and want to invoke an angel, cleanse yourself of guilt. Do not feel unworthy. The angel does not measure your morality, he measures your frequency. If you vibrate in clarity, vision, pure direction, then you have already called him. Want to work with demons? Do so without fear, without blind rebellion, without empty ritual, with authority, with a clear contract, with firm will, because the demon obeys the magician who does not lie to himself. Both are in you. The angel who inspires, the demon who pushes, the one who elevates you, and the one who consumes you. But neither can act. If you do not give them form, if you do not invoke them with word and purpose. I have walked with both. I have made pacts with heavenly thrones and with princes of the abyss. Do you know why they obey me? Because I never forgot that they are here for me, not I for them. And you want to manifest? Do you want to move the threads of the plane? Then do not ignore the angel nor the demon. Use both like wings, and one that elevates you and the other that propels you. Both united in the flight of your will. Awaken. Do not think this work is for everyone, and it is not. Only the one who has already conquered their inner temple can command the outer forces. If you still tremble, you will be possessed. But if you stand firm, you will be served. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And if your will is to manifest, then let the angels come with vision. Let the demons come with impulse, and let them both bow before you, because you have finally remembered that you are the master of the kingdom and the abyss. Chapter 12. Living altars, your body as a center for universal invocation. The temple is not in Jerusalem, nor in Rome, nor on any sacred mountain guarded by columns and superstitions. The temple is you, the altar is you, the fire, the blood, the cross, and the word are all within your body. Every magician seeking power outside has lost their way. The chalice is not on the stone altar, but in the skull where thought is born. Ritualization is not of bronze, it is the breath exhaled, charged with intention. Do you want to invoke? Start by inhabiting your flesh, not as a prison, but as a portal, an antenna, an alchemical laboratory. The ancients knew this, but they cloaked it in metaphors. Your body is the most perfect instrument to communicate with the planes. It is a receiver, a transmitter, a transformer. It is the chalice, it is the sword, it is the seal, but only when it has been ignited. The asleep body is a dead altar, a ruin, a sanctuary looted by dogmas, shame, and soulless habits. The denied body is a temple where no flame burns, and without flame there is no presence, and without presence there is no power. The initiate who understands this no longer begs for signs, because they know that the ritual begins upon awakening, that every step can be a spell, that every movement is sacred geometry, that every glance is a ray and every sigh an invocation. Have you ever bathed as though you were a deity purifying yourself? Have you ever eaten as one who consecrates the sacred bread? Have you ever breathed as one who awakens the universe with each inhalation? Have you ever ejaculated as one who creates a world? Have you ever slept as one who surrenders to the sacred trance of astral travel? If not, then you still do not know what it is to live as an altar. The true magician does not escape the body. They consecrate it, they awaken it, they turn it into art, into temple, into laboratory of fire. And what happens when your body is consecrated? Your aura expands like a cathedral. Your field becomes a mobile altar. Your mere presence invokes. Your mere gaze commands. Your mere vibration is ritual. Then you no longer need candles, circles, or ancient words, because your very flesh is the spell. Your blood is magical ink. Your skin is papyrus on which the universe writes new realities. The body possessed by will becomes the absolute instrument, and everything around it, people, circumstances, objects, responds not by obedience but by resonance. The one who has ignited their body no longer walks. They awaken paths. They no longer speak. They trigger geometry. They no longer desire. They emit creation. And if you feel these words resound in your flesh, you already know that you are not here to flee the body, nor to purify it out of guilt. You have come to turn it into a living altar, a temple that walks in a permanent state of universal invocation. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, and if your will burns in your bones, may every cell awaken, may every organ sing, and may your body finally remember that it is not matter, but incarnate magic. Chapter 13. The ether obeys you if you are real. How to become inevitable. The universe does not respond to masks. The ether does not move for impostors. The planes do not open their seals before empty words or lukewarm intentions. The ether obeys only the real, and being real is the supreme initiation. Who are you when no one is watching? Who are you when you are not acting to be approved, loved, or tolerated? Who are you without the right phrases, without the spiritual disguise, without the learned script? The ether doesn't listen to what you say. It listens to what you are, and you can decree, visualize, repeat mantras, and perform rituals every night. But if you are not real, the eternal does not move, not because it punishes you, but because it does not find you. The ether does not recognize illusion. It does not respond to the farce. It does not activate with noise. The ether bends before presence, before the being who vibrates with such coherence that it becomes impossible to ignore. And what does it mean to be real? It means to strip away the character, to kill the one who acts, to decapitate the one who wants to fit in, to silence the one who fears discomfort. Being real is speaking as one who knows they no longer need to convince. It is walking as one who has remembered their divine nature, and no longer seeks validation but expansion. Most do not create because they still believe they need to earn something. But the universe does not reward the good. It rewards the coherent. It rewards those who are, those who no longer lie to themselves, those who no longer procrastinate. When you are real, the field organizes itself. Opportunities appear, synchronicities align, because the ether recognizes your energetic signature as an inescapable truth. And that is the key word, inescapable. There are those who pray and the universe ignores them. There are those who decree and life mocks them. And there are those who simply enter a place and everything changes because they did not come to beg. They came to reflect an internal structure so powerful, so clean, so lit up, that reality has no choice but to respond. Do you want the universe to listen to you? Stop acting. Start emanating. You don't need to say you are abundant. Be abundance. You don't need to declare that you are powerful. Walk as one who commands. When you are real, your mere vibration emits geometry. Your mere gaze is a spell. Your mere presence is a command. Being real is not about being perfect. It is about being integral. It is about being indivisible, so that every cell of your body, every idea in your mind, every emotion in your field emits the same, holds the same, vibrates the same. And when this coherence occurs, when I want merges with I am, when you no longer doubt, when you no longer act, when you no longer imitate, you become inevitable. The universe cannot avoid you. The right people cannot avoid finding you. The opportunities cannot avoid aligning with you because your existence is no longer accidental. It is gravitational. Being real is to become the sun, the center, the point of total attraction. And then you do not need to chase anything. Everything revolves around you. But remember this. This cannot be taught, it cannot be bought. It can only be remembered, ignited, and sustained. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And if your will is to be heard by the universe, stop shouting and start vibrating. Return to yourself, be real, and watch how the ether, that ancient and obedient substance, kneels before you, because it can do nothing else. Chapter 14. Abundance, power, sex, time. Everything is energy in your hands. The great lie of humanity is to separate what was never divided, to divide money from spirit, the power of love from the divine, sex from the sacred, time from the eternal hour. But the initiate knows, and I shout it from the invisible temples and the uncharted abysses. Everything is the same, everything is energy, and everything is current, everything is fire waiting for direction. Abundance, power, sex, time, 4 words that have been perverted by ignorance and dirtied by morality. But in reality they are doors to the same thing, the remembrance of your total dominion over form. 4 manifestations of a single force that emanates from the center of your will. Do you want abundance? Then stop desiring it like a beggar and become the source. Emit the frequency of the creator, not the receiver. Money does not go to the needy, it goes to the magnetic. And magnetization happens when you vibrate so high that you cannot help but attract. Do you want power? Then stop fighting. True power does not impose, it sustains. It is the ability to inhabit yourself completely, to not fragment before judgment, chaos, or opinion. The powerful is not the one who commands others, but the one who has become impossible to manipulate. And for that you must remember, power is not outside, it is in your blood, your gaze, your field, and it activates with direction. Do you want sacred sex? Then stop seeing it as an escape, consumption, or entertainment. Sex is right. It is raw magic, and it is a dimensional portal. When you penetrate or allow yourself to be penetrated without consciousness, your energy disperses. But when you do it as a magician or priestess, each orgasm is an explosion of creation. Each encounter is a vibrational pact. Each moan is a decree. Do you want to master time? Then forget the clock. Time is not linear, it is not external, it is yours, and it is plastic, it is mental. Time folds before intensity, and when you are completely present, time disappears, it stretches, it surrenders. You don't need more hours, you need more focus, more fire, more presence. And what unites all of this? Energy, primary force, available current waiting for a conductor. And you are the conductor, you are the altar where everything condenses. And if you know how to direct that energy, there is no limit, no waiting, no lack. But if you still believe you must choose between money or spirit, between joy or purity, between pleasure or purpose, then you have not remembered that duality is a prison, and you did not come to choose between extremes. You came to unite them within yourself. I, Aleister Crowley, have been a witness and executor. I have handled these energies as an alchemist without fear, and that is why I now invoke them in you, not as concepts, but as living currents that dwell in your hands. Touch with intention and money moves. Speak with certainty and power activates. Enjoy with consciousness and sex elevates. Dwell in the present with fire and time dilutes. Everything is there, not outside, within you, at the reach of your field, at the service of your will. Wake up. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, and if your will is to manifest all the forms of energy that others separate out of fear, then don't choose. Embrace it all. Let abundance, power, sex, and time kneel before you, as the four columns of your temple. Because you, yes, you can no longer pretend you don't know. Now you know, now you burn, now you command. Chapter 15, Symbolism and Visual Magic. Astral tattoos in the quantum field. Every symbol is a sleeping spirit, a door in the shape of a stroke, a formula encapsulated in an image, a silent spell waiting for activation. The asleep decorate their bodies and homes with signs they do not understand. The mediocre use talismans as harmless amulets, waiting for something to work by superstition. But the initiate, the one who burns, knows that each symbol is a contract, a silent spell, a seed that once inscribed never stops emitting. Do you want to manifest with more precision? Then observe your symbols, the visible and the invisible, because you, without knowing it, are already tattooed. Not only on your skin, but in your quantum field, your aura, the invisible structure that envelops you like a temple of living geometry. Those symbols, those astral tattoos, are not metaphorical, they are real. They are forms that orbit your subtle body. Some were written by you, and others inherited, copied, imposed. Symbols of failure, submission, doubt, guilt. Symbols of ancient pacts with scarcity, sacrifice, and the denial of desire. And how are they inscribed? Through emotion, intention, and repetition. Every thought charged with sustained emotion is an energetic engraving. Every repeated belief is a subtle rune marked in your field. And you, if you have not tattooed your symbols with consciousness, are manifesting geometries you do not recognize but that govern you. I did not come to tell you which symbols to use. I came to return to you the power to choose them, to create them, to invoke them, and to embody them. Because a symbol has no power by itself. It receives it from the fire you grant it, and from the coherence with which you sustain it. Do you know why certain closed figures work? Because they have been fed for centuries, because thousands of souls have injected intention into them, because on the subtle plane, the circle is architecture, and the symbol is the structure where that circle dwells. But you are not condemned to only use the old. You can create. You can channel living geometry. You can draw upon your etheric body the seals of your will, not with ink but with vibration, not with brushes but with internal fire. Do you want to attract abundance? Etch its symbol into your field. Do you want to embody power? Draw its geometry with your ritualized thought. Do you want sacred love? Seal your aura with the image that represents that union. But do it as a magician, not as a superstitious person. Feel the symbol, breathe with it, live it. Visualize it burning in your chest, in your back, in your hands, as if you were a living scroll, as if your entire body were a moving grimoire. For the body is not just an altar, it is a sacred canvas, a channel, a map of invocation. And the symbol, when understood, when lived, when cast into the field with pure intention, modifies reality. Because the quantum field does not respond to loose ideas, it responds to encoded frequency, and the symbol is the purest form of energetic coding. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, and if your will is to live as a spell, then tattoo your field with the geometry of your greatness. Inscribe yourself in the invisible. Become a transmitter of living symbols and watch how reality, blinding and inevitable, responds to your astral signature, because now you carry within you the language of the gods. Chapter 16, Against Karma, the will that breaks chains. Karma is not justice, it is programming. It is repetition. It is ancestral geometry that insists on perpetuating its form, because no one has had the power or courage to interrupt its spiral. Karma does not reward or punish, it simply reflects, and it will keep reflecting until you break it. Yes, I said break it. Not balance it, not understand it, break it. Because those who balance it prolong it, and those who analyze it strengthen it. But those who pierce it with pure will destroy it. The universe is not here to strike you down. The universe is here to obey you. And if you do not order, it repeats. And if you do not awaken, it recycles, repeating the same lessons, the same people with different faces, the same failures disguised as coincidence, all wrapped in the false narrative of what you have to live. But you do not have to live anything. You came here to create. So what is karma then? A spell not undone and a symbol still emitting, a seal still activated in your field. And you, if you do not exercise your will, remain its slave. Not because you are bad, not because you have to pay for something, but because you have forgotten that you are more powerful than any programming, and that will, when awakened and absolute, breaks any inherited geometry. Karma does not die with forgiveness, and it dies with creation, with direction, with the radical choice of something new that has never before vibrated in your history. It is there where the chain breaks, where the cycle is cut, where the universe surrenders and says, "This has never happened before, now I obey." And how is it done? Not with empty rituals, not with half-hearted prayers, and not with self-pity. It is done with rupture, with magical action, with a decision that arises from the most violent and luminous core of I am. When you do something no one in your lineage has done, when you think something no inherited voice dared to pronounce, when you act from the most awakened apex of your being, you destroy karma, you break it, you burn it, and you replace it with will. Will is more powerful than any energetic debt, because debt only exists in systems of repetition. And will, when divine, does not repeat, it creates. You did not come here to give, you came here to order. And if something hurts, and if something repeats, and if something confines you, it is not punishment. It is geometry waiting for rewriting. It is a symbol asking to be erased. And that rewriting only occurs when you decide that your word is worth more than your past, that your vision weighs more than your lineage, that your fire is truer than any code that does not belong to you. Karma is obedient. It is loyal to those who do not question it, but it trembles before the one who vibrates above the pattern. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And if your will is freedom, then do not look back. Do not explain your pain. Do not recite your story. Burn it, break it, and watch as the universe reconfigures itself to your image, because you have finally stopped repeating and have begun to create. Chapter 17, The Art of Not Waiting, Moving Time from Eternity. Waiting is slow death. Waiting is deferring your fire. It is placing your power on the altar of the future, as if the present is not worthy of containing your manifestation. But you did not come to wait. You came to ignite, to move, to twist time from the center of being. Who taught you that you had to wait? Who made you believe that things come when they must? Who convinced you that there is a higher clock that governs you? Lies of slaves, dogmas of the lukewarm, excuses disguised as spirituality. Time is not a line dragging without control. It is a substance. It is a field. It is a frequency that responds to your intensity. And intensity is not brute force. It is pure presence. When you are completely present, time bends. When you inhabit the now as one who has no alternative, the future dissolves, and what was meant to come is already here. That is the art of not waiting, not because you are impatient, but because you are eternal, and the eternal does not wait, it manifests. The one who waits confesses that they do not believe yet. The one who waits confirms that power is outside of them. The one who waits is a devotee of linear time, not a creator who breaks it with their vibration. Have you noticed that time slows down when you suffer? that it freezes when you are in pain, that it stretches when you doubt, and that it accelerates when you decide. That is not by chance, and that is magic. That is temporal alchemy. The magician does not wait. The magician moves time, bends it, shapes it, ignites it, because they know that time is not a tyrant. It is raw material, and like all matter, it can be molded. Do you want salvation? Then take it now. Do not visualize the day it will happen, inhabit it. Declare it. Act as if time has already been conquered by your fire. Because waiting is looking from emptiness, and you are not empty. You are filled with sleeping gods, with possible universes, with parallel futures that are screaming to be summoned. The mistake is thinking that time must be raced. You must dissolve it, collapse it, deactivate its lie. Time bows to sustained will, and will does not ask when. Will screams now, and then the universe obeys. This is the most brutal secret. You are not bound to time. Time is bound to your vibration. When you lower your frequency, time drags you. When you raise it, you dominate it. And if you dominate it, there is no waiting. Only creative presence and only immediate manifestation. Only eternity activated in the instant. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, and if your will is to abolish waiting, then live as one who already is. Breathe as one who already has. Declare as one who has already embodied it. And watch as time, that invisible puppet, dances to your rhythm, because you have remembered that time does not command. It obeys. Chapter 18. You are the channel how to unlock the inner temple of the Maker. Do not search for more intermediaries. Do not invoke anything outside of you. Do not place in angels, saints, guides, gurus, or teachers the power that already burns in your gut. You are the channel. You are the bridge. You are the portal between fire and form. And everything that does not flow in your life is a reflection of a channel obstructed by you. The temple is not in a monastery. It is at your center, in the darkest place of your soul, in the silence where you no longer act. Do not imitate, do not repeat. You just are. And that center is the throne, the place from where creation arises, not with hands, not with words, with presence, with direction, with identity. Wake up. But the channel does not flow just because you exist. You must be open, ripped, unblocked, or like an ancient seal guarding forgotten power. How is it unlocked? By dying, not physically and spiritually, dying to the character, dying to duty, dying to the name, to the body, to the inherited self. Because while the channel is full of who you should be, there is no space for what you truly are. And you are the maker, not the one who imagines, not the one who waits, not the one who visualizes while hiding, but the one who creates, the one who executes, the one who brings the fire to the world and turns it into form. You do not channel others' ideas. You channel what burns within you, a vision impossible to ignore. And that vision is the first fire of the temple, the call, the lightning that pierces the mask and says, no more pretending. Become the channel, or you will become your own shadow. The channel is not comfortable. It is blazing. Because the one who becomes a portal no longer belongs to anything, no longer fits, cannot hold relationships, structures, routines, or ideas that are not aligned with the energy passing through their field. To be in channel is to stop lying to yourself, to stop interrupting what already wants to move through you. And how does one live as a channel? With fierce devotion to your will. Not to comfort, not to superficial pleasure, not to validation. Only to what wants to manifest through you, even if no one understands it. Even if you lose everything, and even if it burns. Because at first it burns, but afterward it makes you eternal. It makes you that rare being whose life feels like a permanent spell, a movement of high frequency, an exact symphony between the invisible and the visible. You are not here to find your purpose. You are the purpose. And when you become the channel, everything you do will carry its imprint, from how you walk to how you create, from how you breathe to how you look. Energy does not need permission. It only needs openness. And you are that openness if you dare to empty yourself of the false, to empty yourself of the old, to empty yourself of everything that does not resonate with what vibrates in your bones. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, and if your will is to manifest the greatness that already moves through you, then break the seal, open the temple, unlock the channel, and become what you have always been. The altar and the fire, the word and the form, the magician and the magic. You, the maker, the absolute channel of all. Chapter 19. The great work is your life, manifest or burn. They've told you wrong. They spoke to you of hidden temples, of distant initiations, of cosmic missions hidden between stars, that do not shine for humans, but I, Aleister Crowley, reveal it to you with the unmasked voice of one who knows all the abysses. The great work is not outside of you. The great work is you, your life, your blood, your chaos, your fire, your creation. You are not here to understand the universe, and you are here to create it. From your throne, you are here to manifest the true self, or die in the repetition of the imitated self. There is no holier path than living on fire, and the one who does not burn decays, and the one who does not create implodes. The one who does not manifest dissolves. You have come to manifest it all. The abundance that lights up your bones, the love that does not hide behind masks of domesticated spirituality, sexuality as ritual, power as frequency, art as the geometry of your soul. And all of this not as accessories, but as sacred duty, as embodied alchemy, and as the great work. Every day you live as if it doesn't matter. You profane the temple, dishonor the spark. You kneel before the god of forgetfulness. Because the greatest heretical act is not blasphemy. It is not creating. It is not living as one who remembers that they are the channel of the eternal. The great work does not end. It is embodied. It is executed in every gaze, in every word you speak, in every action you choose with fire and consciousness. It is your business, your art, your dance, your orgasm, your silence, your moving temple, the way you walk on earth, not asking for permission, but not breaking what still vibrates. The alchemists wanted to turn lead into gold, but lead is not in the matter. It is in your programming and in your lineage or in your slave history. And gold is not the metal, it is the being that awakens, the one who shouts with their bones, I am, the one who takes each fracture and turns it into sacred architecture. If you're still waiting for the right opportunity, the perfect signal, the moment when everything aligns, you've already lost. Because the universe responds to the one who throws the first stone, to the one who lights the fire, even if they are alone, to the one who declares, even if they can't yet see it, to the one who acts, even if they tremble. It is not about succeeding, it is about being inevitable, and it is about living as one who already knows that the great work is not a goal, it is the path you walk with a crown. And if you do not manifest, you will burn, because unused energy reverses, decays, turns into illness, anxiety and poverty, repetition. Not as punishment, but as the consequence of the stagnation of the divine, because the divine was never static. The divine is expansion, it is continuous creation, it is embodied will. There is no salvation in not doing. There is no redemption in waiting. There is no purity in passivity. Purity is acting without contradiction, without doubt, and without procrastination, manifesting with such violent certainty that the world bends before you and calls you magician, calls you mad, calls you God. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And if your will still pulses, if you have not been completely devoured by lethargy, then manifest or burn, because this life, yes, this is the force, and you are the fire, the hammer, the sword, and the temple. You are the great work, and the time to remember it is now.